So, good morning everyone, and a warm welcome to Creative Breakfast with JCDecaux. I'm Malin Otterström, Communications Director of JCDecaux Sweden, and today we're going to dive into the world of programmatic advertising. Super excited. JCDecaux Sweden just launched the programmatic offering here in Sweden, which now makes Scandinavia the hub for programmatic advertising in the Nordics complete. And we're already seeing big interest in this, which is very exciting for us, of course. In 2026, when our SL contract begins, we will add 1,200 new digital screens to the market, which of course is going to open up for a lot of new opportunities for programmatic. These screens will be in the largest and most busy subway stations in Stockholm and also across Greater Stockholm at bus stops. Programmatic with JCDecaux is possible thanks to our partnership with View, and we are very happy to have you guys here with us today. View is leading global SSP for digital out-of-home and is leading the way for programmatic out-of-home worldwide. So, to explore this exciting area more and share some valuable insights on programmatic out-of-home in the Nordics, we're truly delighted to have you with us today. So, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Catherine Bucky from View UK.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to see everyone. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for making the time to join us today. We're very excited to be here for the State of the Nation event in Sweden. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Catherine Bucky. I'm VP of Strategic Partnerships at View, and my team looks after our media owners around the globe from a commercial perspective. We're really excited to be here launching our research in the Nordics, which is the first in-depth research for the region looking at programmatic digital out-of-home. Some quick housekeeping before we start. The session is being recorded and will be shared after the event. At View, we're now in our 6th year of running State of the Nation, and we're really proud that this is becoming and has cemented itself as the de facto research around programmatic digital out-of-home, to the point that whenever there's an article about programmatic digital out-of-home that pulls in industry insights, more often than not, there's usually a stat referencing View's State of the Nation research. The research has usually covered the UK, France, Germany, Australia, and the US, so we're really excited to be gaining new ground in the Nordics this year and providing some robust statistics about programmatic digital out-of-home in the region. As Malin mentioned earlier, View launched with JCDecaux Sweden, our generous hosts, earlier this year, as well as AFA Decaux, completing our presence in the Nordics alongside JCDecaux Finland and Norway. This means that inventory across the whole of the Nordics is now available to advertise programmatically with us, which is a really exciting prospect. It's one of the fastest growing regions, and we think that advertisers are waking up and tuning into the Nordics, being able to deliver a unique set of audiences in an agile and digital-first environment. This morning, we'll be joined by an esteemed panel of guests over 2 snappy sessions back-to-back. So first up, we'll have a quick review of the key takeaways from this year's Nordic report, followed by a chance to hear from some of the key players in the Swedish advertising industry. We'll be taking questions from the audience at the end of the session via Slido. You'll see the details on the slides, where you'll be able to scan the QR code and submit questions at any point. We hope you come away from today with some key insights around programmatic digital out-of-home, what it looks like in Sweden at the moment, and the future growth opportunities. With no further ado, I'd like to welcome Adam, who will give you an overview of our Nordic report. Thanks, Adam.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are we doing? I'm Adam. I am the Senior Insights and Research Manager at View. And together with a couple of my colleagues in marketing, my one of my jobs for the year is to produce the State of the Nation report, which Catherine has just mentioned. In the sort of next 10 minutes, there are really two things that I'm going to try and achieve today. Number one, I'm going to explain a little bit about the research itself and how it works, why it's unique, and a little bit about the people that answer the questions that we send out into the market. And then I'm going to have a quick run through of some of the key overarching statistics, which will be unpacked in the panels that are going to follow on, really with the idea of sort of laying the groundwork for everything that we're about to hear afterwards. So what actually is State of the Nation? State of the Nation is an annual research program that View undertakes, which really aims to deliver sort of in-depth insights around the growth and the landscape of programmatic digital out-of-home in various markets around the world. The research is now in its 6th year, and we partner with an international research and strategy agency called MTM to deliver the research every year. As Catherine said, in the last 5 years, we've always looked at UK, France, Germany, Australia, and the United States. But this year, we felt that because the Nordics is growing so rapidly from a programmatic perspective, that we really wanted to come and have a look at the region in some serious depth. So this year, the research covers Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. So if you take the time to read the full report, as I recommend you all do, at some point, you will see not only the Swedish statistics, but you'll also see the other markets that we've covered, with the idea of giving you an idea that this is how Sweden is comparing to the other markets. But also, we make an effort in the report to compare how the Nordics is faring versus all those other countries that we've looked at. So you might see today, for example, a comparison to the 2024 global averages. And when we say the 2024 global averages, what we mean is the comparison to UK, France, Germany, Australia, and the US. And you'll also see a number of differences also. One quick point of digital housekeeping when it comes to the research that I want to make is that some of the statistics you'll see on screen today, you'll see that the numbers that we're showing sometimes add up to more than 100%. I promise it's just not bad mathematics. When we send out the questionnaire, which I'll explain a little bit more about in a second, sometimes we ask people to give us more than one selection in the response. So for example, if I asked you a question, I gave you 10 options to respond, you might pick option number 1, 3, and 7. And that's most of the time why things might add up to more than 100%. Okay? So one of the things that's really important to understand about State of the Nation is the group of people that we've asked these questions to, because they're not just any group of people, and it's one of the really unique things about State of the Nation. So we have this sort of very fancy sounding researchy definition of these people, that they have to have essentially placed, planned, or bought budgets within programmatic digital out-of-home in the last 12 months. But the really important thing that I want you to remember, and I want you to take away from this, is actually what it says at the bottom here, which is advertisers must be of director level or above, and agencies at executive level or above. So we are asking people that are really in the strategic level decision making about programmatic out of home, what they have been doing in the last 12 months when it comes to programmatic out of home. We've been very much asking about their behaviours, so to speak, but we also make an effort to ask them about their attitudes towards programmatic out of home as well. And I'm very much of the opinion that, if I can talk like a researcher for a second, that if you really want to gain some insight into what's going on, you ask people two things. You ask people about their behaviours. You ask them, what have you been doing when it comes to programmatic out of home in the last 12 months? That's your behavior. What have you been doing? And you also ask them about their attitudes towards programmatic out of home. In a sense, we're asking people, what do you plan on doing in the next 12 months? How do you feel about the channel? Do you plan to spend more? Do you plan to adopt DCO? And all these different kinds of ideas. And I think when you combine both behavior and attitude, you really arrive at this idea of insight. What have you been doing? What would you like to be doing? This is where your insight is. This is where your opportunity is. And I think for each of you in your own businesses and your own roles, when coupled with your experience within out of home, whatever that may be, that may tend to be where you find the most interest in these reports. You can bring your own experience. What have you been doing? What do you plan on doing? And that's really where the value in State of the Nation is. And as a reminder, these are the strategic level decision makers, which are essentially the foundation of a lot of the statistics which you're about to see, which I love numbers. So let's have a look at some. So in the past 18 months, our survey respondents indicated that 32% of Swedish campaigns had included programmatic out of home, which outpaced the 2024 global average. That share is expected to rise to 35% by 2026. Looking ahead, Swedish marketers expect their programmatic out of home investment to grow by an average of 40% over the next year, which is significantly higher than the 28% when it comes to the 2024 global average. The strong commitment there is really unsurprising, as the report makes that point, that 91% of Swedish marketers believe that programmatic digital out of home offers some of the most innovative opportunities when it comes to media today. An impressive, really impressive 91% of Swedish marketers consider programmatic digital out of home important for brand campaigns, placing it above the 2024 global average. When it came to performance campaigns, sort of looking at the lower funnel, 83% of Swedish marketers considered programmatic out of home to be an effective channel, which actually places it below our global average, which was 91%, I believe. Swedish marketers, and this is a bit of a trend across the Nordics in general, but Swedish marketers already recognise the sustainable or eco-efficient reach of programmatic out of home as one of their standout traits. In fact, 61% cited it as a key benefit of programmatic out of home. What is it that really influences programmatic out of home investment in Sweden? Brand effectiveness, cost efficiency, and its ability to generate a return on investment were the top three responses that we got. Really interesting point. And I really hope they're going to unpack this later on, what are the key barriers hindering the adoption of programmatic out of home in Sweden? Attribution and measurement challenges, which is someone that measures programmatic out of home campaigns for a living, more or less. I can verify that's very true. Cost concerns, the concerns around the availability or accuracy of audience data within programmatic out of home, that will come up quite a bit, I think, and the limited amount of programmatically available inventory within the market. One of my favourite statistics, 13% of Swedish marketers are actively using DCO, which is actually outpacing the global average in 2024. And additionally, 89% of Swedish marketers are either sort of in that testing stage there, so they're considering piloting or in that process of actively implementing DCO, which is actually slightly behind the global average, which came in at 95% for us last year. And finally, what really are the future trends and opportunities for programmatic digital out of home in Sweden? The ability to utilise real-time audience data, the visibility of its impact on other digital channels, and this very, very long response, because everything came in at 37%, obviously. DCO, a lot more data, and some data to drive an idea of direct response within the campaign also. So I would highly encourage you to not only read the Nordics report from this year, but also to read the 2024 global report, so you can see how the Nordics in general, not only Sweden, is faring against the sort of wider programmatic out-of-home market globally, I guess. So with that, I'm going to stop talking. You'll be really happy to hear, and I'm going to hand back over to Catherine for the first of our panels. Okay.
Thanks, Adam. It's great to see such robust research about programmatic digital out-of-home. Great to see that investment is expected to grow so significantly in Sweden. Before I kick off the industry panel, I'd just like to remind you that you can submit questions via the Slido QR code. And of course, you'll be able to ask questions in the room at the end of the panel session. I'd like to welcome our panel today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to come up. Thank you, guys. I'm really happy you could join us. Thank you. If you'd all like to give us a quick intro, that would be great, of just your name and job title.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Sebastian. I work at Vista Media as a sales manager, and I'm very happy to be here today.
Great.
Yeah, Urs, head of programmatic at JCDecaux Sweden. This is my third week at JCDecaux, so quite new, but getting used to it.
Diving straight in. That's good. Okay.
Hi everybody, I'm Amélie. I'm the trading director for the Nordics at the trade desk.
Hi everybody, my name is Patrick and I work as a programmatic specialist at Trickron Media.
Brilliant. Well, thank you all for joining us. From this year's report, it's clear to see that programmatic digital out-of-home really is taking off in the Nordics, with almost all Swedish marketers, 99% in fact, planning to invest in programmatic out-of-home over the next 12 months. This surpasses the global average of 95% from last year's report. In your opinion, why are so many Nordic marketers choosing to invest in programmatic digital out-of-home this year? I'll come to you, Az.
Yeah, I would say it's, I don't know, do we hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that programmatic out-of-home offers flexibility, but also precise targeting capabilities. In addition to that, there's no minimum investment requirements, making it an attractive option for advertisers that or brands that are not the typical out-of-home buyers, so that they can utilize programmatic out-of-home as a complement to their other digital activities. So I think combination of all those is driving the growth in
driving the great growth. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Amélie?
So I think there's definitely a curiosity to see what programmatic can bring in terms of capabilities to digital out-of-home. And also, there's never been more inventory available in the Nordics at this point.
Sure.
So we're definitely entering into phase 2.
And more inventory to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So phase 2 to the growth in this market. And I think there's definitely also an appetite, like Urs was saying, of like trying to tie back programmatic advertising or programmatic digital out-of-home to the rest of digital channels.
Great. Sebastian, do you have a view on it?
Yes, I would agree with the other panelists, and I think the access to the different media owners is one of the key priorities for buyers as well. And the fact that JCDecaux is the last media owner to come online is significant as well, because that means all of the digital screens of the main media owners are available, and then you can get full consolidation. And I think we're in a stage now where the agencies have been doing 1 or 2 years of testing, and they're ready to ramp up spend in the format.
With great premium inventory as well. It's very exciting. Nordic marketers are expecting their programmatic digital out-of-home investments to grow by an average of 37% over the next year, with Sweden specifically leading the way at 40%. This is significantly higher than the global average of 28%. Patrick, can you give us your view on market conditions or appetite from clients that explain why Sweden is predicting such a high investment in programmatic digital out-of-home?
Yeah, I think it's like we said, with JCDecaux joining is of course a big part of it. Mm-hmm. Not only because it's JCDecaux, but because now all of the bigger publishers are available.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's it's been some time. People have figured out how to use it, when to use it, and I think that makes it now people want to use it in a way.
Okay. And as given that JCDecaux only recently launched with programmatic, what are your key focuses to ensure investment reflects what we're expecting?
Yeah, of course. I think our key focuses is making sure that our inventory is available across all DSPs and that are common for programmatic digital out-of-home. both locally but also global players as well. So I think that's one key point. But also another thing is knowledge sharing around our media for our new audiences, which might be the trading desks or planners and buyers of digital media in general.
Making it easy to understand and see the value. Sebastian, given your expertise as a DSP with a focus on out-of-home, how would you describe the current level of interest from brands in the channel, and what kinds of trends or shifts are you noticing?
We've seen a lot of interest over the last 1 or 2 years from all types of companies and verticals. And I'd say one interesting trend that we're seeing is a lot of retail physical companies using programmatic out of home with in combination with proximity targeting. That's a big trend that we're seeing from our end.
That's great. Programmatic digital out-of-home has earned its place as a credible performance channel quickly in the Nordics, with 83% of Swedish marketers considering programmatic digital out-of-home as an effective performance marketing channel. When running performance campaigns, they most often pair programmatic digital out-of-home with social media, 89%, display, 81%, and direct bought digital out-of-home, 79%. Amelie, is this aligning with what you're seeing as an omni-channel DSP?
So yes, we're definitely seeing some shift from digital out-of-home being pure awareness to actually being performance, as a performance channel. I think we need to understand that the position that we have in EMEA and some of the Nordic markets can be a bit different because not all markets are set up the same way. So there's definitely like a opportunity for innovation in some of those markets as well. I think some of the most advanced markets will, use our API for very specific triggers, while markets that are a bit newer will use like off-the-shelf possibilities, like targeting specific time of days or like targeting specific weather. It all, like the philosophy is the same. It all comes down to contextual relevancy. And we know that this is what performs the best.
Okay, and I think you already touched on some, but what innovations or capabilities is the Trade Desk offering to maximize the effectiveness of planning these type of campaigns?
Yes, so we've invested a lot in our product to bring it to parity to the other digital channels. So that means being able to do the same thing that you would do like on a display or a video campaign. So you can use your own audience or third-party audience. You can retarget people that have been seeing around the digital out-of-home panel when you had an impression into another campaign, another channel. Share frequency cap between channels or different campaigns from different channels. And of course, report against all of this. Like the report element and the measurement element is definitely a super important piece.
Brilliant. Patrick, from an agency perspective, why do you think clients are keen to pair social media with programmatic digital out-of-home? What makes them a good match?
When we're talking about performance campaigns, I think it's important to say that most performance campaigns you often do social, since it's such a good media for it. But second of all, there's a lot of similarities between what you need. Mm-hmm. You often want a format that's 9x16, and you often want it to be without audio, which is the same for out of home. And then we see that they pair very well. So this is from the study of JCDecaux UK, I think, where they paired Facebook with out of home, and you see a uplift for both channels pretty much, which I think is...
it's very powerful.
Yeah, exactly. People see that it works, and then you want to do it more, I think.
Okay, that's good. 58% of Nordic marketers expect to shift budgets from other digital channels, well above the 38% global average. The State of the Nation report suggests this inclination is especially strong in the Nordics due to marketers' strong alignment of programmatic digital out-of-home with digital, which could explain why funds are more likely to be reallocated from digital channels compared to other global counterparts. Do you think this tallies with an overall sentiment of Sweden being particularly agile, or do you think it's just a young market?
I would say it's the first one.
Okay.
I think Sweden is quite far ahead or front runner in terms of digital maturity, which also reflects on the advertisers and agencies that are willing to test and learn from new emerging programmatic channels.
Yeah, I think the test and learn is very important, and great to see budgets increasing as advertisers gain confidence. Seb, do you expect to see buyers upskilling from the digital advertising side rather than the out-of-home side?
Up to now, I'd say we'd seen more upskilling from the digital side.
Okay.
And I think for those users, it's quite easy to pick up programmatic out of home because they're already used to working with a vast variety of formats like display, audio, video, and so on. But right now, we're seeing more upskilling from the out of home side. And we're seeing quite an interesting dynamic emerging where the out of home specialists are doing the planning and the programmatic specialists are doing the execution in platform. So I think that's a more of an agency model we'll see more and more in the future.
Okay, and Amelie, do you have a view on that as well?
Yeah, I concur what Seb's saying.
Okay,
Essentially, you do see like a natural extension for digital buyers to start doing programmatic digital out of home because it's just one more channel to the tools that they have. And I do like the examples as well, and I've seen this myself, of having out of home specialists being paired with digital programmatic specialists. Usually those people are also from different generations, and I think it's great to see this collaboration.
Bringing different knowledge together.
Exactly,
Yeah.
learning from one another.
Yeah, okay, it's good to see. 83% of programmatic digital out-of-home campaigns in the Nordics are bought by the digital programmatic teams versus 74% on a global average. Patrick, does this higher than average adoption rate mean that agencies have successfully broken down the silos between traditional out-of-home and digital teams?
I think if you go into an agency right now, the biggest department or team that you're going to find is the digital team, which means that like if you're going to add up new campaigns and new clients for doing programmatic home, they often have more resources and time to do this. Also, like we said, I think if you already do programmatic, you already are in multiple DSPs probably. So then adding on a new one is it's just gonna be easier and quicker in a way.
Okay. And as with programmatic digital out of home being handled by digital buyers, how are you planning to equip your sales team to engage with them more effectively?
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. So firstly, we need to make sure our, as I mentioned before, with the knowledge sharing to our new audiences, but also that we also equip our sales team with understanding of the programmatic ecosystem and that they talk the same language as in their new counterparts in the trading desk or digital departments as well. I think so they can meet in the middle.
And I assume talking about measurement and being able to measure across multiple channels will be very important as well.
Yeah, of course. In terms of more mature digital channels, they're often always measured both internally in their channels, but also with other channels in an omni-channel perspective. So I think it's just natural and also crucial that we also include programmatic out of home in the same kind of measurements as well.
Yeah. Despite the strong momentum behind programmatic digital out of home in the Nordics, most campaigns remain focused on a single market, with just 28% extending regionally. Are clients driving the single market focus, or is it an internal planning limitation? What do you think, Patrick?
So I think like we say that most clients aren't always available on multiple markets. So buying a single market then makes sense. And often you have, if you are available on multiple markets, you might have different agencies in different nations. And that's why I think you see that most campaigns are just within a single nation.
Okay. I know that Vue is launching a solution that enables you to buy with a single ID across multiple markets, which is an exciting opportunity. What, in your view, needs to happen for programmatic digital out-of-home campaigns to scale more easily across the region, across Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland? Is it about education, inventory access, or unified buying? What's your view, Urs?
I would say it's a mix of it all in order to scale it. Programmatic itself in its best forms is easy to use to access inventory across multiple markets. But I would say it's a bit about education. So take, for example, how we count an impression with the VAC. That's a bit different methodologies behind it for each market.
Right.
So I think we take
it's a bit of complexity, but hopefully we can
exactly. So we need to take that into account when both the difference and also the similarities between the markets in order to make an as good comparison between them as well.
Okay. And Amelie, do you have a view?
So yeah, I think from the inventory perspective, we're there. So like most agencies will have always on deals that they can plug into a platform. They can use platform deals that are already on the platform. The education portion, I think, is quite important because if you want to scale, you need to know what you can scale against. So if you know that you can quickly set up a campaign, run it within one day, like it's probably going to incline you to test and learn on like one extra market. I think it's also important, and that's more like education as well, or unified buying, in the sense that you need to include digital out of home into your overall media strategy and understand how it fits and how you can measure success.
And Sebastian, what's your thoughts on this?
Yes, I would agree with the others, and I think that the easy inventory access is very important, and we've actually seen quite high cross-Nordic campaign adoption on our end, and we facilitate this by making it very easy for clients to access existing deal infrastructure, so they can plug and play very easily. And I would say that audiences help a lot as well when planning cross-market, because you might not know the market so well, so audiences help you target the right areas in that new country.
View certainly talks to advertisers who are keen to advertise across the whole region, so it's an exciting opportunity. 91% of Swedish marketers believe programmatic digital out of home offers some of the most innovative opportunities in media today. What are the main opportunities to grow the channel in Sweden, in your opinion? I'll come to Emily.
So the measurement part I mentioned, there's no silver bullet when it comes to measurements, but there are definitely some possibilities that can be done, like brand lift studies, like measuring conversions, etc., etc. And like, I think Sweden is in a great space to actually do that. So that's the first portion, and also like knowing how programmatic and what specificities actually enables you to do on your campaigns. That would be the second.
Okay, great. Urs, what are you seeing as the main opportunities?
Yeah, I would say it's mostly for the not the usual out-of-home buyers, but for new advertisers to explore the potential and the creativity within programmatic out-of-home in terms of buying the inventory to technology to creative as well. I think it's and also, of course, as you mentioned, measure it as well, so we can measure it both short-term and long-term effect as well in terms of effectiveness with these new capabilities.
And Sebastian, what are you seeing as the opportunities?
I would say one other big opportunity is more guaranteed buying.
Yes, definitely.
Guaranteed buying. We've seen in Germany, for example, where they have programmatic guaranteed. Almost 50% of digital out-of-home purchases are done programmatically, and that's a big driver of that.
Yeah, I agree. And do you see opportunity for things like dynamic creative optimization that brings value to the channel as well?
Yeah, I think we've seen in the report that a lot of Nordic marketers are already using dynamic creative, and this really helps to increase the relevancy of the campaigns. So this is definitely a big opportunity as well. We've done a lot of work in this area around countdown type ads or store location type ads, dynamically updating that. So definitely a massive opportunity.
Yeah, I love those campaigns.
Yes.
Just to wrap up, Patrick, do you have any comments on final comments on growth and the big opportunities that you see ahead?
So I think the big thing is to work with data. I think right now we can use like temperature, weather, and pollen very easily within all the platforms. But it's really when you get like the first-party data within the system that I think you're gonna see some really cool campaigns. There's this great case from V-Star where they talk about like, this one, where they talk about like they used how many people are in the museum during COVID. So they only advertise when they don't have when they have availability within the museum. And I think this kind of campaigns is going to be really the opportunities of programmatic.
Thank you so much for your insights, all of you. It's really great to hear your thoughts and to hear about the opportunities in Sweden. I think we can all come away with some good insights and hopefully some good action points as well. That's all we have time for, but I would love to go to the questions. So I'll open the floor. If we have any questions in the room. Oh, Sophie, you have a question?
Yes. Hello. Oh. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. Oh, hi. Thank you for the insights. It would be really good to know how much you're being influenced by what other more mature programmatic markets are doing. How are you taking a steer of kind of what innovations and data usage they're doing to influence how that will grow programmatic out of home in Sweden? to anyone, by the way.
Yeah, who would like to answer that? Urs, I'll
Well, I
come
think
to you.
from our perspective, since we have launched in other Nordic markets, we'll take quite a lot of insight from them and see what we can apply locally here in Sweden. But of course, we're probably going to look at what we can develop going forward in terms of, like, as you mentioned, like first-party data or other type of targeting capabilities.
We've seen very impressive growth in the Nordic regions, in Norway, so I think it's a lot to learn from there as well. Amelie, do you have a view?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the trade desk in Nordics is relatively young. We've been here for like 3 years and a half, but behind us there's EMEA, and like there's a lot of great case studies or great activations that have been done in those markets, and we try as much as we can to share those with marketers and say, hey, you know, you actually have the possibility to do this, should you want to try and inspire them. But we know that these things can take time, and there's like a lot of conversations sometimes that need to happen within agencies for this to happen. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of inspiration to take from global and regional.
Yeah, View definitely has a big portfolio of case studies that we've done with all the different markets, all the different industry verticals, so they're really interesting to have a look at. Any other questions? Oh, okay, okay.
Sorry, I won't bogart the mic. We already kind of heard, Sebastian, you said that retail works really well as a vertical for programmatic out of home, but what other verticals and kind of brands do you think would lend themselves quite well for the programmatic out of home market in Sweden?
I would say we've seen interest from across the board with different type of verticals, but I think anything physical is quite strong with programmatic out of home or out of home in general. So restaurants, for example, or car dealerships or anything physical works quite well with the proximity type targeting you can do.
Also, to add to that, I think our offering here in Sweden, I think it's quite good that we have like vertical screens that are quite easy to reuse creatives from other digital channels as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great advantage.
I think there's also a lot of interest from CPG because you can always tie this to a particular moment in the day or a particular temperature. Like that. There's definitely a lot of creativity that we've seen on some campaigns, and yeah, like I think. Like with this type of channel, that's where you can really get creative. You can use data, and there's so much data out there for you to use. And like the sky is your limit, I would say. So if there's great ideas, crazy ideas, we'd love to hear about them.
Yeah, we've had some hot weather recently in London, and we've seen suddenly lots of adverts for barbecues, mayonnaise, cool drinks. Yeah, I love it. Any more questions?
Hi. As seasoned marketers in Sweden, were there any of the statistics that surprised you?
It's a bit hard to remember all the statistics now.
I think they were all very positive, the statistics, weren't they? Like strong growth, usually above the global average. So I think
some of the blockers I was a bit really? Like I think Sweden is definitely one of the markets in Nordics that's the best position to do some of the most sophisticated campaigns. And I guess this is tying down to what we all talked about, which is education and telling marketers what they actually can do in this market.
Also, to add to that, I think it was around the adoption of programmatic out of home in performance campaigns that was a bit surprising. Thought that would be higher.
It was lower than the global average.
Exactly, but I think that one is one good opportunity to us to prove ourselves going forward, like in terms of short-term sales, like
and get some great case studies. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what question at the back? Yeah.
I think I heard that Emily, you mentioned that you're able to use first-party data to target out of home. Can you explain a little bit how that works?
Yes. How long do you have? No, so basically, we at Trades were partnering with a company called AdSquare, which is able to use mobile data. So we are able to use user IDs coming from first-party data and to recognize those IDs around panels or digital out-of-home panels to re-engage those people. We have a system, which is something that we built that basically optimizes the screens where you're going to be able to be seen per day according to the relevance to the audience that you're trying to target. Because if you think about any city, you don't have the same population or the same type of audience at any given time of the day. So we're able to kind of follow people in their, natural journey, I guess. So yeah, it's actually something that's relatively easy to activate. It's not available in all markets just because AdSquare is not available in all markets, despite us trying to coax them into it. But Sweden is definitely one where you can do that.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Oh, okay.
Actually, following on from that, how would you say data is used across omni-channel when you're planning programmatic out of home alongside other digital channels when using that first-party data? Is it coming up quite a lot in this market?
In this market, no, because we're still quite new, I think, because there's not much knowledge that this is actually possible. The way it's been used in other markets, I would say, is to basically tie in campaigns together. So either because they all have the same goal and you're able to report against that, or because you can make sure that you don't overpressure your audience across the different channels. So by basically making sure that if a user has seen an out-of-home impression, you might not serve them an extra mobile ad. So this is kind of the way we would think about inserting digital out-of-home into omnichannel. After that, there's loads of measurement that can be done. Studies, we talked about maybe brand lift studies. Footfall measurement is also one that could be done. And like you can try and report as much as you can, depending on what the actual goal of the campaign or the set of campaign is.
Okay, great. Any final questions? No. Okay, great. Well, I would just like to thank everyone for their time today. I hope it's been insightful. I'd like to thank our panelists for their great insights as well. It's been a really interesting discussion. Thank you to JCDecaux Sweden for hosting us. Very excited to be here. You can download our very robust report here using the QR code, so we'd be very happy if you did that. The View team will be around if you'd like to ask us any questions after the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.